OutDaughtered, star Danielle Busby's transformation from wife to mama of 6. Photos. Danielle Busby is one of those reality TV stars who feels less like a celebrity and more like someone you'd actually want to sit down with over coffee. She's real, she's emotional, she's funny, and she's also incredibly strong. When fans first met Danielle Busby on TLC's OutDaughtered, they were introduced to a woman who was trying to keep her head above water while raising the world's first all-girl quintuplets, and yes, also parenting her oldest daughter, Blake. But what makes Danielle's story so powerful isn't just the fact that she's a mother of 6. It's the transformation she's gone through, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, from being a newlywed wife to becoming a mama of 6 girls with millions of people watching her every move. And if you've ever seen those side-by-side photos of Danielle from her early marriage days compared to now, you can almost feel the journey behind her smile. It's not just about the weight changes, the hairstyles, or the outfits. It's about the life experience written all over her face. She looks like a woman who has been through sleepless nights, hospital scares, family chaos, laughter-filled mornings, and moments of pure exhaustion, but still manages to stand tall. Today, we're diving into Danielle Busby's incredible transformation, from wife to mom of 6, from a private woman living a normal life to a reality TV star and businesswoman, and from simply surviving motherhood to becoming an inspiration for parents everywhere. So grab a snack, get comfortable, because this is one journey that proves that transformation isn't always about glow-ups. Sometimes it's about growth, strength, and learning how to love yourself through every season of life. Before Danielle Busby was known as the mom of Quints, she was just Danielle, a regular woman living her life, falling in love, and building her future. Danielle met Adam Busby long before the cameras showed up. Their love story wasn't built on fame, sponsorships, or social media attention. It was built the old-fashioned way, through connection, commitment, and trust. When Danielle and Adam got married, she was the kind of woman who looked like she had her life perfectly in order. She was stylish, confident, and full of energy. She had that fresh, newlywed glow, and in those early photos, she looks like someone who is excited about what life will bring. And honestly, who wouldn't be? When you're newly married, you imagine the future in such a sweet way. You think about family vacations, cute holiday photos, cozy home moments, and eventually maybe a couple kids. You think about the joy of being a mom without fully understanding what that responsibility will truly feel like. Danielle's early married life looked simple in the best way. She and Adam were working, building their careers, enjoying their relationship, and doing what most couples do, planning for the next step. But no one could have predicted what was coming next. Because Danielle wasn't about to become a mom of 1 or 2 kids like most people plan. Danielle was about to become the mother of 6 daughters, including 5 babies born at the same time. That kind of life shift isn't just a chapter change. That's a whole new book. When Danielle first became a mom, it wasn't with the quintuplets. It was with Blake Louise Busby, their first daughter. Blake came into their lives and completely changed everything in the most beautiful way. In photos from that time, Danielle looks like she's glowing with motherhood. She's smiling, she's holding her baby girl, and she has that soft look that new moms get, like they're falling in love every single day. Blake was the beginning of Danielle's motherhood journey. She was the moment Danielle stepped into the role of mama for the first time. And from everything fans have seen over the years, it's clear Danielle absolutely adored being Blake's mom. She seemed natural at it, like she was born for it. But even with 1 child, motherhood isn't easy. Any parent watching Danielle during those early days could relate to the sleepless nights, the constant worry, and the feeling that you want to do everything perfectly. Danielle was learning how to balance being a wife and being a mother at the same time. And she was doing it with love. But then, life decided to surprise her in the biggest way possible. After having Blake, Danielle and Adam wanted to grow their family. They didn't know that their journey to have more children would lead them down a road that was both terrifying and miraculous. Danielle struggled with fertility issues and eventually turned to medical help. This is something so many couples deal with quietly. Infertility can be painful, emotional, and draining. And for Danielle, It was a journey that took strength even before the quintuplets were ever conceived. When Danielle eventually became pregnant again, she likely imagined she'd have one more baby, maybe twins at most. Because even twins feel like a huge surprise for most families. But Danielle didn't get twins. She got quintuplets. 5 babies. 5 little lives growing inside her. 5 hearts beating. 5 futures forming. And just like that, Danielle's world was flipped upside down. Now, when you look at photos of Danielle during her pregnancy with the quints, it's honestly hard to believe what her body went through. Her transformation during that time was incredible, and not in a glamorous way, more in a how did she survive that kind of way. Danielle's pregnancy was high risk, physically exhausting, and extremely dangerous. Carrying 5 babies is not something the human body is really designed to do easily. Every step, every breath, every day became a challenge. Her body changed rapidly. Her face changed. Her posture changed. Her energy changed. Everything about her became centered around survival and protecting her babies. In those photos, Danielle still smiles, but you can also see it in her eyes. She looked like a woman carrying a miracle and carrying a heavy burden at the same time. And it wasn't just physical. Emotionally, Danielle had to prepare herself for something most mothers never experience. Because giving birth to quintuplets doesn't come with a simple plan. It comes with fear. It comes with uncertainty. It comes with 1,000 questions like, will they survive? Will they be healthy? How early will they be born? What if something goes wrong? How will we take care of them? Danielle wasn't just becoming a mom again. She was becoming the kind of mother who would need strength on a level she probably never even knew existed inside her. When the quints were born, Danielle's transformation went from pregnancy to pure survival mode. The babies were premature, and like most preemies, they needed medical attention. The NICU became a second home. The hospital became part of their daily routine. And Danielle's entire world became centered around feeding schedules, weight checks, doctor updates, and prayers. It's one thing to give birth and bring a baby home. It's another thing to give birth to 5 babies and have to leave them in the hospital. That kind of emotional pain is hard to explain unless you've lived it. Danielle had to go home with an empty belly, but without all of her babies in her arms. And at the same time, she still had Blake at home, who needed her mom too. Just imagine how overwhelming that must have been. Her body was recovering from a high-risk pregnancy and delivery. Her heart was split into 6 pieces. Her marriage was being tested. Her mind was exhausted. And her life was about to be filmed for television. Because OutDaughtered was born from this story. And suddenly, Danielle's private struggle became public. When TLC began documenting their lives, viewers saw Danielle at her most vulnerable. And honestly, that's why people connected with her so strongly. Danielle didn't try to pretend she had it all together. She cried. She got frustrated. She admitted she was tired. She admitted she felt overwhelmed. She admitted she didn't always feel like she was doing a good job. But she kept going. And that's the most powerful part of her transformation. Because motherhood doesn't always turn you into a perfect person. Sometimes it breaks you down first, and then rebuilds you into someone stronger. That's exactly what happened to Danielle. In the early seasons of OutDaughtered, Danielle often looked exhausted, and fans could see it in her appearance. Her transformation during that time wasn't about beauty, it was about reality. Her hair was often pulled back in a messy bun. Her makeup was minimal or non-existent. Her outfits were practical, not fashionable. She wasn't trying to look like a celebrity. She was trying to survive as a mom of 6. And the thing is, that's what made her relatable. Because so many moms watching at home were thinking, that's me. That's exactly how I look and feel. Danielle represented motherhood in its rawest form. The kind of motherhood that doesn't care about perfect Instagram photos. The kind of motherhood that smells like baby formula, laundry detergent, and coffee. The kind of motherhood that comes with spit up on your shirt and tears in your eyes. Danielle's transformation into a mom of 6 was messy. But it was real. As the years went on, the quintuplets started growing. They went from tiny preemies to toddlers, and then to little girls with huge personalities. And as her daughters grew, Danielle began to transform again. Because once you get out of the newborn survival stage, you start to rediscover yourself. Slowly, quietly, one small moment at a time. Danielle began to smile more. She started dressing differently again. She started taking time for herself, even if it was small. Her energy started shifting from constant stress to a more confident motherhood. And you could tell she was finding her rhythm. But even then, her life wasn't easy. Because parenting 5 kids the same age isn't like parenting normal siblings. It's a whole different kind of challenge. Everything happens 5 times. 5 tantrums. 5 meals. 5 outfits. 5 school schedules. 5 emotional breakdowns. 5 different personalities. And Danielle was managing all of it while still being a wife, a businesswoman, and a public figure. Her transformation wasn't just physical. It was mental toughness being built day by day. One of the biggest things fans have noticed about Danielle over the years is how her confidence grew. In early photos, she looked like a sweet wife and mom who was adjusting to chaos. But in more recent photos, Danielle looks like a woman who knows who she is. She carries herself differently. She stands taller. She smiles like she's proud of herself. And honestly, she should be. Because raising 6 kids, including quintuplets, is not just parenting. It's leadership. It's sacrifice. It's endurance. It's love on a scale most people will never understand. Danielle's transformation shows what happens when a woman is pushed to her limit and discovers she's stronger than her limit. But Danielle's journey hasn't been all sunshine and sweet family photos. One of the most talked about parts of her transformation is her health struggles. Over the years, Danielle has been open about dealing with health issues, pain, fatigue, and scary symptoms that left fans concerned. At times, she has looked visibly drained in photos. And she has spoken openly about how difficult it was to function while feeling unwell. For many moms, this part of Danielle's story hits close to home. Because motherhood doesn't pause when you're sick. You don't get to stop being a mom because your body is struggling. And Danielle had to continue raising her daughters even when she didn't feel like herself. She had to push through. And that's another layer of her transformation. She wasn't just transforming into a mother. She was transforming into a fighter. Danielle also experienced emotional struggles, including moments where she seemed overwhelmed, anxious, and emotionally drained. And again, this is something many women can relate to. When you're constantly giving to everyone around you, your kids, your husband, your home, you sometimes lose yourself. You start forgetting what you like. You forget what you want. You forget who you were before motherhood. Danielle's transformation includes that struggle. And it's visible in the way she sometimes speaks on the show, like someone who is trying to hold everything together. But what's beautiful is that she didn't pretend it wasn't hard.
She talked about it.
She faced it. And that honesty is exactly why fans respect her so much. Another part of Danielle's transformation is how she evolved as a wife. In early marriage photos, she looks like a young woman starting her love story with Adam. But as the years passed and the kids came and the stress hit, Danielle became something else. She became a partner in survival. Because raising quintuplets is not something one person can do alone. It takes teamwork. It takes sacrifice. It takes patience. And yes, it takes arguments sometimes. Danielle and Adam have shown their ups and downs on the show, and their relationship has been tested many times. But their journey together has made them stronger. And Danielle's transformation as a wife isn't about being perfect. It's about growing into a woman who understands marriage isn't always romance. It's sometimes teamwork, exhaustion, compromise, and choosing each other even when you're tired. That's real love. And that's what their story shows. Danielle also transformed into a businesswoman. Many fans don't realize how much Danielle has built outside of being a reality TV mom. She became someone who wasn't just raising kids, but also building a future for her family. Danielle and Adam have worked on different businesses, projects, and brands over the years. And Danielle's confidence as a working mom became part of her identity. She wasn't just Adam's wife. She wasn't just the mom of Quints. She became Danielle Busby, The woman with her own voice, her own goals, and her own strength. And that transformation is powerful, because many moms feel like their dreams end after they have children. But Danielle proves that your dreams can evolve. They don't have to disappear. If you look at Danielle's photos from the early years compared to now, you can see a clear style transformation too. Her fashion choices became more polished. Her hair became more styled. Her overall look became more put together. But what makes this transformation interesting is that it didn't feel fake. It didn't feel like she was trying too hard. It felt like she was rediscovering herself. Like she was stepping back into her womanhood after years of being consumed by diapers, bottles, and toddler chaos. And honestly, that's something to celebrate. Because motherhood doesn't mean you stop being a woman. It doesn't mean you stop caring about yourself. It doesn't mean you stop wanting to feel pretty. Danielle's transformation reminds women everywhere that you can be a mom and still be you. Over the years, Danielle also transformed in the way she parented. In the beginning, she was navigating baby schedules and survival. But as her daughters grew, Danielle had to become a different kind of mom. She had to become a teacher, a disciplinarian, a counselor, a cheerleader, a protector, and a guide. Raising 5 girls the same age is like managing a classroom in your own house. Each child has their own personality, their own emotions, their own fears, and their own strengths. And Danielle has had to learn how to love each daughter individually. Because even though they're twins, they're not the same. Fans have watched Danielle support each girl's unique identity, whether it's in school, sports, friendships, or confidence building. And that's another transformation. She didn't just become a mom. She became a leader of 6 young girls who are watching her every move and learning what it means to be a woman from their mother. That's a huge responsibility. Another powerful part of Danielle's transformation is how she learned to let go of perfection. In early seasons, Danielle often seemed stressed about everything being under control. The schedules, the routines, the meals, the cleanliness, the organization. And honestly, she had to be. Because without structure, their house would collapse into chaos. But over time, Danielle started to accept that not everything will be perfect, that some days will be messy, that some days will be loud, that some days will be emotional. And she started embracing the imperfections of family life. And that is one of the biggest transformations a mom can have. Because motherhood teaches you something no one tells you before you have kids. You can't control everything. You can only love them through it. And Danielle learned that. When people talk about Danielle Busby's transformation, many focus on her physical appearance. But the truth is, her biggest transformation is her emotional growth. She has become more patient, more self-aware, more open about her struggles, more confident in her decisions, more protective of her family, and more determined to keep her girls grounded despite the fame. Because, let's be real, growing up on television is not normal. Being recognized in public is not normal. Having strangers comment on your life is not normal. And Danielle has had to learn how to protect her children's childhood while also living in the spotlight. That takes wisdom. And Danielle's transformation into a protective mother is one of the most admirable parts of her journey. Danielle's transformation also includes her role as a daughter and family member. Fans have seen her relationships with her sisters and her mother. And it's clear that family means everything to Danielle. She leans on her support system, and she values her roots. Even as fame grew, Danielle didn't become someone who forgot where she came from. She stayed connected to her family. And that's another reason fans respect her. Because many reality stars change completely once fame hits. But Danielle still feels like Danielle, just with a much bigger life than she ever planned. Now, one thing that makes Danielle's transformation so emotional is how much she has sacrificed. And sometimes, it's visible in the photos. In older photos, she looks carefree. In newer photos, she looks strong. But strength often comes at a cost. You can see it in the way she carries herself. You can see it in the way she sometimes looks tired. You can see it in the way she speaks about motherhood. Danielle has given her entire life to raising her daughters. And she has done it while millions of people watched. That's not easy. And yet, she still shows up. Every day. For her kids. For her husband. For her family. For herself. One of the most inspiring things about Danielle is how she continues to find joy. Even after all the stress, she still laughs. She still celebrates birthdays. She still plans cute family traditions. She still enjoys holidays. She still makes memories. And that is what motherhood is all about. Because even in the chaos, you find moments that make it all worth it. And Danielle's transformation shows that joy is something you choose, even when life is overwhelming. The Busby family photos over the years have become like a timeline of Danielle's transformation. In early family photos, Danielle looks like she's adjusting to the craziness. She smiles, but she looks like she's thinking, "How are we doing this?" Then, as the years go on, you start seeing her smile change. It becomes more confident, more proud, more relaxed, more natural, and you realize Danielle isn't just surviving anymore. She's thriving. As her daughters grew older, Danielle also started becoming more vocal about boundaries, parenting choices, and family privacy. And this is a major part of her transformation. Because being on reality TV can blur the line between public and private. And Danielle has had to learn how to balance sharing her life with protecting her children. Fans have seen Danielle become more selective, more aware, and more protective. And that's growth. That's motherhood evolving. Because when your kids are babies, you share everything. But when they become older, you realize they deserve privacy too. And Danielle has clearly learned that. Danielle's transformation also includes the way she has handled criticism. Being a reality TV mom means people judge everything. How you parent, what you feed your kids, how you discipline them, how you dress them, how you talk to them. And Danielle has been judged a lot. But over time, she has grown thicker skin. She has learned to focus on what matters. She has learned to ignore the noise. And she has learned that her children's happiness matters more than strangers' opinions.